Laughter filled the grand hall clear and bright. It bounced off the chandeliers surrounding the guests. But to me it wasn't light-hearted. It was painful. The sound twisted in my guts, reopening old wounds. I stood by the window, fingers tightening around the edge of my glass, watching small figures darting through the courtyard, their feet slapping against the cobblestone. Their giggles bursting like firecrackers into the night air during festival periods. An orphanage. Fitting, isn't it? I've always loved children and wished to have lots of kids when I become a woman, but it would seem life has a way of laughing at one's face. And now I stand here in a charity event with my husband. But not one of them is mine, because life is cruel like that. Because fate has a twisted sense of humor. I force my gaze away, swallowing the lump rising in my throat. But before I could take a step, I heard these heart-wrenching whispers. 5 years of marriage and still no child. Poor thing. If I were Leonard, I'd be thinking about an heir by now. Or a second wife. She should just adopt one of these orphans. At least that way she'd serve some purpose. My breath hitched. My pulse slammed against my ribs like a violent, caged thing that needed to be released. I didn't flinch. Didn't react. But damn, I felt it. God, I felt crazy, isn't it? She's got a thing between her legs, yet the only thing it's good for is pleasing her husband, not bearing his children. My fingers curled around the glass, gripping it so tightly my knuckles turned white. I bit my lips so hard I tasted blood. Why, Lord? Why me? I turned. I needed to leave. Now! Before this humiliation swallowed me whole. Before I dropped down on the floor and broke into tears. I needed to flee, and then, oh darling, leaving so soon? A shiver crept up my spine. That voice. That menacing voice, Rebecca. She stepped into my path like she owned the floor beneath her feet, her dress hugging her curves, her lips curling into a slow, satisfied smirk as she sized me with her eyes like I was some piece of trash. Poor Olivia. She sighed as she shook her head in mockery. I could feel it coming. The words that would slice me apart. She tilted her head, letting out a mock sigh. Don't look so sad, dear. I'm sure you're useful for something. The air around me felt choking. You'd almost think I was gasping for air at this point. Every muscle in my body locked. Rebecca took another step, so close that I could smell her expensive cologne. After all, she murmured, you can still warm your husband's bed, can't you? That's all that really matters. You're just a barren tramp. Red dot, that's all I saw, and honestly I felt I wanted to put a gun to her dirty little brain and blow it up. Trust me people, if I could I would have a long time ago.at some point I swear I could hear my own breathing. It was ragged, uneven, trembling with anger. I couldn't just stand here and watch this old hag talk to me like that. Never. My nails dug into my palms, sharp enough to break skin, but my lips moved first. I had the greatest comeback ever. At least I might be barren, I said, my voice a whisper, not just any whisper, it was a deadly whisper, quiet enough to make the room lean in, loud enough to destroy her, but at least I wasn't messing around with my stepson in the restroom some hours ago. The room froze. Silence crashed over the crowd, heavy, delicious, and trust me when I say you can almost hear a pin drop. Her nostrils flared. A sharp breath in. You could almost see panic in her eyes as she gazed around the crowd. But she masked it quickly, clicking her tongue, shaking her head. And then, before I even knew what was happening, my vision went white as I stumbled back due to the impact of this slap. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. No one moved. No one stopped it. And Rebecca, she stood there, chin lifted, eyes gleaming, lips curled in a slow, knowing smirk, like she had won. The sting burned, a searing imprint of humiliation across my skin. My ears rang. My breath came short, fast, and then a voice tore through the silence like thunder splitting the sky. How dare you slap my wife? The room shook. Every cell in my body went still. My pulse stuttered. Because that voice, Leonard. My husband. He was beside me before I could blink, his body radiating heat, power, fury. The kind of fury that could destroy nations. His fingers brushed my cheek, featherlight against the burning flesh, his touch tender, possessive, dangerous. His gaze flicked back to Rebecca, his jaw tight, his expression unreadable. You hit my wife. Apologize. The room held its breath. Rebecca swallowed, her eyes darting around, looking for an escape. Leonard didn't give her one. Now. Her throat bobbed. She knew. She knew there was no way out. Slowly, with shaking hands, she dropped to her knees. I'm sorry, she whispered, the words foreign, almost like a bitter, acidic burning in her throat. She looked small. Insignificant, I must say. Leonard turned to the room as he slammed his fist on the table. No one disrespects my wife. His gaze swept over them, daring them, challenging them. I chose her for who she is, not for her ability to bear me children. So unless you have something valuable to say, his voice dropped, rough and merciless. Shut the hell up. Silence. Not a single whisper, not a single breath. My heart ached. Why? Because Leonard had given me everything, everything, except the one thing I wanted most. Olivia. Later at night, I stepped out of the bedroom, lost in thought, my damp hair wrapped in a towel. The cool air kissed my skin, sending a shiver down my spine as I pulled my robe tighter around my body. I need to speak to him about my pain. I need him to know how desperately I want a child. I was so lost in thoughts when I heard a knock on the door. I exhaled slowly, steadying myself. Great! What now? Coming, I called out, forcing my voice into something that didn't betray my exhaustion. When I opened the door, Mrs. Rogers stood there, her face impassive, a silver tray balanced in her hands. Madam, your tonic. A bitter taste filled my mouth before I even took a sip. My stomach twisted violently, recoiling at the mere sight of it. Lord have mercy. This? Again. That damn concoction, dark, murky, reeking of herbs that never failed to churn my insides. I didn't need to ask who had sent it, but I did anyway. Did my mother-in-law send this? Mrs. Roger hesitated, and that tiny flicker of pause was all I needed. Then she nodded. Of course, a special remedy they had called it. Crafted by the best herbalists, designed to heal, to help, to fix whatever was wrong with me. A sacred elixir, they said, meant to prepare my body for pregnancy. But I had seen the reports. The tests. The cold, sterile rooms filled with doctors who looked at me with pity in their eyes. My womb was fine. My body was fine. So why wasn't I pregnant? I swallowed down the familiar sting of frustration, my fingers curling into the fabric of my robe. Would you like me to take this back? Mrs. Rogers' voice was gentle, hesitant, like she already knew what I wanted to say. God, yes. I wanted to hurl that disgusting thing straight out the window. Wanted to scream, stop shoving this poison down my throat. Stop acting like I'm broken, but I knew the rules of this game. If I refused, it would reach her ears. And when it did, she'd come with her soft voice and sharp words, her perfectly rehearsed disappointment. You are not fulfilling your duty, Olivia. I could already hear her. I forced my lips into something that resembled a smile and nodded. Thank you, Mrs. Roger. I'll drink it. She bowed slightly before leaving me alone with it, alone with the tonic, alone with the suffocating reality that no one saw me. Only my wound. I lifted the bowl to my lips, my pulse hammering against my throat. The first sip was sharp, burning like liquid fire down my throat, coating my tongue in something rancid, something cruel. My entire body revolted. A gag crawled up my throat, my stomach twisting in protest. I barely made it to the bedroom before nausea won. I collapsed against the bathroom sink, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, my stomach still lurching. The tonic sat heavy inside me, mixing with the bitterness of resentment. I needed to talk to Leonard. I needed him to hear me. Steeling myself, I stepped out of the bathroom, my steps careful, calculated. He was exactly where I expected him to be, at his desk, bathed in the glow of his laptop, his fingers tapping against the keyboard in rapid succession. He didn't even notice me entering. Babe, I finally said, my voice soft, careful. He hummed. A distracted acknowledgement, his eyes never leaving the screen. I swallowed. Please, I'd like to talk to you about something. That made him pause. He sighed, closing his laptop with a soft click before turning to face me. His dark eyes met mine, searching, sensing the shift in the air. What's the problem, baby? My fingers tightened around the hem of my shirt as I forced the words out. Why don't we have a child, my love? His face barely changed, but I saw the slight tightening of his jaw, the way his chest stilled for just a second too long. It's risky. You had an eye transplant years ago. Getting pregnant might not be the best idea for you right now. There it was. The same excuse. The same gentle, well-rehearsed rejection. He reached toward the nightstand, picking up a small pill between his fingers. Please, my dear, he murmured, pressing it into my palm. Take this. I insist. The pill was always the answer. It was how he silenced me, how he made the conversation disappear. A tiny round, white rejection. My hands trembled as I took it. I didn't fight him this time. I couldn't. I just swallowed it with the glass of water he handed me. And then, as if nothing had happened, as if my quiet devastation didn't exist, his voice darkened. Come here, baby. Let me have all of you. Later, as he slept beside me, I lay in the darkness, restless. The tonic and the pill swirled inside me, making my stomach churn with something more than nausea. Something heavy. Something suffocating. Then, my body couldn't take it anymore. I bolted from the bed, rushing to the bathroom, collapsing to my knees before the toilet. My stomach twisted violently, and I retched, my body rejecting it all, the bile, the pill, the bitter taste of everything I had been forced to swallow. When it was over, I wiped my mouth, weak and trembling, and then, as I made my way back to bed, something caught my eye. Leonard's phone. It was blinking. I hesitated, my heart pounding as I reached for it. The screen glowed in the dark, a single message staring back at me. Been to hospital. The same hospital where I had my eye transplant. My breath hitched as I read the words beneath it. Miss Elena is awake, sir. They can proceed at any time. Elena, my blood ran cold. Who the hell was Elena, and why was Leonard involved with her? Olivia. The next day, my mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, tangled and relentless. Who was this Elena woman? What kind of relationship did she have with my husband? Why was her name in a message from the very same hospital where I had my eye transplant? But I forced myself to push it aside, focus on today, Olivia, because guess what? Today is our wedding anniversary. We had planned the most splendid dinner night. Now, let's be honest, folks, I am not a great cook. I mean, if survival depended on my cooking skills, I'd be in deep trouble. But that's not the point, right? It's the intention that matters, the love, the effort. So I decided to help Mrs. Roger in the kitchen, determined to prepare something exquisite for my dear husband. Because that's what a good wife does, right? I was elbow deep in chopping vegetables, the rich aroma of spices filling the air, when I heard footsteps descending the stairs. And then, there he was, Leonard, with a smile stretched so wide across his face it was almost too bright, too cheerful, like he had just won a damn lottery. His eyes were glued to his phone, his fingers moving swiftly across the screen, completely absorbed in whatever had him so gleamed up this morning. And maybe I should have smiled too, should have been happy that my husband was happy. But something in the back of my mind whispered otherwise. Last night. Was it the message? Was it her, that damn Elena? But no. 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 I shook the thoughts away. Not today, Olivia. Not on your anniversary. Wiping my hands on my apron, I walked toward him, tilting my head slightly as I studied his face. Good morning, honey, I greeted, forcing warmth into my voice as I leaned in, pressing a kiss to his cheek. Why are you so happy this morning? His smile faltered just a fraction, so fast that if I wasn't paying attention, I would have missed it. Then, just as quickly, it was back, his expression smooth as he pocketed his phone. Oh, it's nothing, darling, he muttered. Just work-related. Work-related, and then, before I could even react, he was already reaching for his coat, grabbing it from the back of the couch with a speed that screamed getaway. I gotta go. Catch you later. Love you, he added, his words rushed, clipped, like a script he had rehearsed 100 times before. And just like that, he was gone, out the door, without breakfast, without even glancing at the perfectly set dining table. My eyes narrowed. My hand still gripping the apron I had used to clean off the flour dusting my fingers. Work-related. Huh, my husband, the man who never, ever skipped breakfast, especially not when I went through the trouble of preparing something, had just rushed out of the house. Without a second thought, something wasn't right. Something was honestly suspicious, and I was going to find out what it was, but not today. No. Not today, Olivia. Today was our wedding anniversary. A day for joy. A day for celebration. No dull moments. No unhappy thoughts. Still, even as I turned back toward the kitchen, forcing a bright smile onto my face, something in the back of my mind whispered, prepare for the worst. Asterisk, 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 just hours before he left. As I was sliding the lasagna into the oven, my phone started ringing. I didn't hear it at first, but Ms. Roger did. She pointed it out, and I quickly wiped the sweat off my forehead, set the kittens down, and rushed to the living room to grab it. Leonard. I hesitated for a moment, just staring at his name on the screen. Why was he calling? Did he forget something? Or was it something else? Hey babe. What's wrong? Did you forget something? I said cheerfully, trying to hide the anxious knot that had already begun to form in my stomach. But his voice came through distant. Colt. Hey, love, I'll be coming home late tonight, he said, the words clipped, like they were rehearsed. Don't wait for me. I froze. The smile slid off my face faster than I could stop it. Okay, sure, is everything alright? He didn't hesitate. Yeah, just some work stuff. I tried to hold it together. I really did. But it was just too much. He didn't wish me a happy anniversary. Not even a hey or sorry I'm late, I'll make it up to you. Nothing. I couldn't even make sense of it. Was I disappointed? Yes, I was. But maybe he just got caught up with work, lost in his own head like he always does. That doesn't mean he doesn't care. He does. He always has. At the very least, I can make sure he tastes the meal I prepared for him, right? He's been a good husband. The least I can do is be a good wife. Without another thought, I packed up the food, my movements quick, my heart pounding with something I couldn't name. I grabbed my keys, slipped on my shoes, and headed straight to his office. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Good evening, Mrs. Crawford. The receptionist, his secretary, sat behind a desk typing something on her computer as she looked up the second, her lips twitching into a polite smile. I didn't return the greeting. I just needed to see my husband fast. Where's my husband? I asked, my voice cool, but my patience was already thinning. There it was. The flicker. The hesitation. So small, so quick, but I caught it. Mr. Crawford, she echoed, as if she needed me to repeat myself. I clenched my jaw. Yes. Leonard. She straightened slightly, her hands folding over each other. He's not in, ma'am. Something inside me stilled. Not in? Olivia, the words didn't make sense. I blinked, processing them, trying to force them to fit into the reality Leonard had painted for me earlier. He left early today, she added, her voice still polite. Still composed. My stomach twisted. Leonard never left early. Not when he claimed to be working late. Not when he told me he would be here. I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. All right. Thank you. But my hands felt cold. My heart was beating faster now, my mind already spinning with questions, with doubts. I turned on my heel and walked straight to his office. The second I stepped inside, the air felt wrong, too still, too cold. His cologne still lingered, faint but there, but the room itself, his desk, his chair, the papers neatly stacked, was untouched. Like he hadn't been here for hours. Liar. I inhaled sharply, my hands trembling as I reached for my phone. I scrolled to his name, my thumb hovering over the call button before I pressed it. It rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. The longer it took for him to pick up, the more something dark settled inside me. 4 times. 5. Then, Olivia. His voice was calm. Too calm. Like he wasn't expecting me to call. Where are you? I asked, and I could already hear the sharpness in my own tone, the way I wasn't in the mood to be played with. I'm in your office. A pause. Then, a small shift in his breath. I'm with a client. I closed my eyes for a second. And then I opened them. You're with a client, I repeated slowly, my fingers tightening around the phone. At this hour? Yes. His voice was too even, too prepared. Like he had been expecting this. Like he had been waiting for me to call. I didn't buy it. Which client? I asked. Where are you? Another pause. Longer this time. A pause long enough to confirm everything I already knew. Olivia, I told you I'd be late. I'm handling something important. Important? More important than our anniversary? More important than me? My breath came in shallow, uneven bursts as I pulled my phone away from my ear and swiped up, checking his location. Nothing. Location unavailable. My chest tightened. He turned it off. My husband, the man who had never once turned off his location in all our years together, had turned it off. The room suddenly felt too small. Too suffocating. My pulse was roaring in my ears, my hands numb. Leonard, I muttered with a low tone that was so deep and sounded dealt at the same time. Where are you? A sigh. I told you, I'm with a client. In town. Silence. The longest silence yet. Then, finally, his answer. No. I'm out of town. The floor beneath me seemed to shift. Out of town. He was out of town. I opened my mouth, but before I could say a word, click, the line went dead. My breath caught. I looked down at my phone, staring at the screen like it would somehow change what just happened. He hung up. He switched off his phone. Leonard had lied to me, and whatever he was hiding. It was bad. I can't believe the nerve of this man. I paced around his office, my heels clicking against the marble floor, my breath coming in sharp, shallow bursts. My fingers tangled in my hair, tugging slightly as if that would somehow ease the frustration coursing through me. Out of town? With a client? Nonsense. My instincts screamed that something was off, and now I had proof. He wasn't where he said he was. He lied to me. On our anniversary. And worse, he had the audacity to hang up and shut off his phone like I was some clueless, helpless fool who wouldn't dare question him. I wasn't just going to sit here and drown in my suspicions. I was going to find out exactly what was going on. I yanked open my bag, digging through it until my fingers wrapped around the sleek surface of his laptop. My pulse quickened as I set it on his desk, flipping it open as I quickly pulled up the browser. My hand shook slightly as I typed in the search bar, Benta Hospital contact number. Seconds later, the number appeared. My heart slammed against my ribs as I grabbed my phone and punched it in. The line rang, once, twice, then a soft, professional voice answered. Good evening, Benta Hospital. How may I assist you? Hi, I'd like to inquire about a patient. Her name is Elena. A pause. Are you a relative? I bit my lip. No, but it's important. I just need to know if she had any visitors today. Another pause. The soft clatter of keys typing on a keyboard. My entire body tensed as I waited, every second stretching endlessly. Then finally, yes, she did, the nurse confirmed. I exhaled sharply. My fingers tightened around the phone. And who visited her? The response came without hesitation. Leonard Crawford. Damn. I felt the breath leave my lungs. The room spun slightly as the words settled in my head. Leonard. My husband. He was with another woman on our anniversary. Olivia. He was home. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just lay there, staring at the bedside lamp while my mind spun in circles. Same questions. Same ache. Same silence. The bedroom door creaked. The mattress dipped. Warmth pressed against my back. His body was molding into mine like nothing had changed. But everything had. His breath brushed my shoulder, warm and familiar. His arm slid around my waist, tugging me close with that soft, careful grip. The one he used when he knew he was guilty. I'm sorry, baby, he whispered, lips barely grazing my temple. Work ran late. I didn't mean to miss our anniversary. Liar. I knew the second his scent hit me. His usual cologne was there. It was crisp and clean, but underneath I smelled something sharp. Hospital air. Been to hospital. My fingers curled into the sheets. Cold metal slid over my wrist. A bracelet. Diamonds, bright and blinding, wrapped in gold. Expensive. Beautiful. Another sorry gift. It's beautiful, I whispered. My voice didn't even sound like mine. He smiled against my skin. Bought it in Paris last week. Just for you, my sweet Olivia. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe Elena was nothing. Maybe love really could survive silence and secrets, so I reached for him. Let him kiss me. Let him lie to me with his hands, but then his fingers brushed my face, and something soft and silk slipped over my eyes. Darkness swallowed me whole. My heart jumped to my throat. Every nerve lit up, my body tense, senses sharp. I knew this game. Blindfolds. Teasing. Touch. But this wasn't the same. There was no playful heat this time. Only cold. His touch felt too careful. Too controlled. Like he was distracting me. He didn't want me to see. He didn't want me to think. This wasn't about our anniversary. This was about erasing something. And right then in the dark I knew. Leonard wasn't just hiding a mistake, he was hiding everything. Asterisk. The knock at the door came sharp and fast, way too early for visitors. When I opened it, my stomach dropped. Patricia. My stepmother. She always looked flawless, like she had been born in designer clothes and perfected the art of cold smiles. I hated that smile. Because Patricia never showed up unless she wanted something. And today was no different. She swept past me without waiting for an invite, heels clicking against the floor like she owned the place. She gave the living room a quick scan, eyes landing on my bracelet, Leonard's anniversary gift, and her smile sharpened. It must be nice, she said, her voice sugar sweet. Living in luxury while your father drowns in debt. My jaw clenched. What do you want, Patricia? Her eyes glittered. Your father needs help, Olivia. Debt collectors are breathing down his neck. He's about to lose everything. Guilt scraped at my chest, but I pushed it down. I knew about my father's gambling. I knew he dug his own grave. And Patricia didn't care about saving him. She cared about saving herself. If he sank, so did she. I can't help, I said, my voice flat. And even if I could, Leonard. Oh, please. She cut me off with a laugh that made my skin crawl. Don't act innocent. You're his wife. You could ask him for anything. There was something in her voice, something almost amused, like she knew something I didn't. And I hated that. Her gaze dropped to my bracelet again. He's already so generous. I folded my arms. Why are you really here? Patricia tilted her head. Fake sympathy plastered across her face. You know, for someone who's been given so much, you're not very grateful. I frowned. What are you talking about? Her smile sharpened into something cruel. If your father hadn't spent a fortune on your eye transplant, maybe he wouldn't be in this mess. My heart stumbled. My throat went dry. What do you mean? She gave an exaggerated sigh like I was slow. Did you ever ask where they came from? The silence stretched. My pulse pounded in my ears. Where did it come from? Your eyes. I couldn't breathe. Patricia took her time, dragging out the moment before she said it. They belonged to a girl named Elena. The name crashed into me like a wrecking ball. She was in an accident, left in a vegetative state. Her parents needed money, so they sold her corneas. Your father paid a fortune to give you those eyes. My stomach flipped while rising in my throat. Elena? Huh? What did you just say, stepmother? Are you now deaf, Olivia? I said your eyes came from a girl called Elena. I have heard that name so much that now I'm scared. Was it the same girl Leonard lied about? Were they the same people, or was it just a coincidence? Patricia leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper. Elena lost everything. And you? You walked through life wearing her eyes like a prize. The air thickened. My hands curled into fists so tight, my nails bit into my palms. Get out, I said through clenched teeth. Patricia blinked, pretending to be shocked. Excuse me. I said, get out. Her eyes gleamed with satisfaction. This was what she came for, to watch me break. But I didn't give her the satisfaction of crying. Not in front of her. She tossed her hair back and sauntered to the door, pausing just long enough to throw one last parting shot over her shoulder. You'll regret this, Olivia. You'll wish you listened before it's too late. The door slammed behind her. Olivia, I couldn't sleep. Patricia's words had lodged themselves in my mind, sharp and relentless. Elena was the girl who sold her eyes. I sat in the dim light from the bedside lamp, my fingers curling around the edge of my phone. The screen was warm against my palm, but I couldn't bring myself to move. If I did, I would make it real. If I did, I would chase a truth I might not survive, but the doubt was suffocating. I needed the truth. I scrolled through my contacts, the steady thrum of my pulse in my ears as I landed on the number I hadn't dialed in years. Dr. Samuel Green, the surgeon who had given me my sight. Without thinking, I pressed the call. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Then a click. Dr. Green speaking. I swallowed, trying to steady my voice. Dr. Green, it's Olivia. Olivia Crawford. A pause. A breath. Then weariness. Olivia. It's been a long time. What can I do for you? I need information. There was a short silence, then about. I need to know who my donor was. He hesitated a bit. Olivia, that's confidential. I bit back a frustrated breath. Please. I just need a name. Another pause. I could almost hear him debating, searching for a way out. But I wasn't backing down. Dr. Green, I said, more forcefully now. If you ever cared about me and if you want to help me, please. I need to know who she was. I heard a long sigh, heavy and resigned. The sound of papers rustling, the faint tapping of keys on a keyboard. I gripped the phone tighter, my heart thundering in my chest. Elena Moreau. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. I couldn't breathe. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't a mistake. It was her. The same Elena who had given me my sight. A choke sound escaped me, something between a gasp and a sob. Olivia. Dr. Green's voice was soft now. Are you okay? I didn't answer. I couldn't. I hung up. Asterisk. I don't remember the drive to the hospital. One moment. I was in my bedroom, everything spinning with the weight of Elena's name, her eyes. The next, my hands were gripping the steering wheel, my knuckles white. The road slipping by in a blur of neon lights and shadows. My mind was a storm, questions whipping through the chaos. Why would Leonard visit her? Why would he lie to me? Why does he care about the woman who gave me her eyes? But I didn't want to face the answers. I wasn't ready for the truth to be real. I parked in front of Benta Hospital, my legs weak as I stumbled inside. The sharp scent of antiseptic filled my nose, but I didn't register it. I didn't care. My body moved on its own, my feet carrying me forward. I had been here before in another life. And maybe, just maybe I had. Because somewhere in this building, a girl had lost her sight, and I had taken it. Room 217. I saw the number on the door before I realized I had reached it. The name on the plaque was clear, bold, Elena Morrow. I stopped. Proof. There it was. The name. The girl. I reached for the doorknob, but my hand froze inches away. My heart thudded painfully in my chest. Everything I thought I knew, the lies, the silence, was about to break loose. As I reached for the doorknob, but before I could touch it, I heard a voice. It was faint, fragile, trembling, thick with tears. I'm scared, Leo. I froze. Leo. In her there was no hesitation, no doubt. She said it like it was hers. Like he was hers. My heart stopped. A sick, sharp pain spread through my chest. A moment later, Leonard's voice, low and soothing. You're not alone. And then, I've been keeping your eyes safe all these years. My blood ran cold. No, I didn't hear that right. I couldn't have. Do you promise? Leonard's voice dropped to a whisper. Soon. You'll have them back. And no one will ever take them from you again. I clamped a hand over my mouth to stop the sound from escaping. My body went numb. My mind didn't want to believe it, but my heart had already accepted it. Leonard, the man I loved, the man I married. He was never mine. Not really. The way he looked at me, the way he touched me, it had never been about me. It had always been about her. I wasn't the one he wanted to protect. He had married me to protect what had always belonged to Elena. The eyes I thought were mine. The truth hit me like a blow to the stomach. I couldn't breathe. My pulse thudded in my ears. I had to get out of here. I had to leave. I turned, stumbling down the hallway, my legs shaky, my breath ragged. Every step felt like a battle. No. 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 The words tumbled out of me breathless, but they didn't change a damn thing. I had to leave. I couldn't stay here. Not after everything I had just heard. My legs nearly gave out as I reached the stairs. I grabbed the railing, my knuckles white. My vision was spinning. It wasn't my vision that was messed up. It was me. Leonard had never loved me. Every moment we shared, every kiss, every touch, it wasn't for me. It was for her. I wasn't a wife. I was just a vessel. I was her substitute. A cage for her eyes. I couldn't hold back the sob that tore through me. My chest felt like it was collapsing. No, I tried to push myself forward, but my body wouldn't cooperate. I couldn't stop shaking. The truth was too much. I took a step. My foot slipped as I screamed and I lost my balance. For a second, the world flipped. Then darkness.